Greetings, one and all. It's 2023. What is it going to bring for us? Who knows? But we need to go forward working on ourselves, which I hope people are doing. So I thought I'd discuss a little bit about the laws. I've done a show before on the laws, but then I was rereading some of Beelzebub's tales, and I found this rather long quote. But I thought what we could do is perhaps go through it and discuss it a bit. So this is from page 755 and 756 of All and Everything. And Beelzebub's talking to his grandson, Hussein. I repeat, my boy, try very hard to understand everything that will relate to both these fundamental cosmic sacred laws, since knowledge of these sacred laws, particularly knowledge relating to the particularities of the sacred heptapara of Passionok, will help you in the future to understand very easily and very well all the second grade and third grade laws of world creation and world existence. And I've done shows on heptapara Passionok, which is the law of seven. I'm sure many of you love the number seven and have come across it in various escapades in your life. And number seven relates to, obviously, to the Enneagram. We've got the 1, 4, 2, 8, 5, 7 symbol, and then got 3, 6, 9 in it, the triangle. Or someone was, I think it was Graham, that was saying that the triangle represents the Holy Spirit. Maybe it does in the Enneagram. And then 1, 4, 2, 8, 5, 7. Well, what does that represent? What is this law of seven? Why is there a law of seven going round? And obviously, there's many different ideas as to where the number seven comes from. Obviously, we've got 7 days in the week. Used to be known that there were 7 planets in our solar system, which were the main ones that could be seen by the naked eye on dark nights, or before we had all these lights in the streets that block our lightning out there. Obviously, the days of the week also named after the 7 planets. Monday, Moon; Tuesday, Mars; Wednesday, Mercury; Thursday, is that Venus? Oh no, now I'm getting my planets mixed up. I can't remember which is Venus, Thursday or Friday. Oh no, Thursday, Jupiter; Friday, Venus; Saturday, Saturn; Sunday. And then I had someone saying to me about how the days of the week aren't in the particular order of the planets. It starts off that way, it seems, but then, we've got the moon, Mars, and then Mercury, but Mercury's closest to the sun. So surely that should be named first. I find it quite interesting as well, then these ideas. And I also like the idea that Venus comes after Jupiter, and Jupiter's far, far, far away. And if Venus is a Friday, then there's the many different myths that Venus was a late coming planet into our solar system. So maybe that's why it is named as the days later. And of course, we've also got that missing planet, which many people say is the asteroid belt, that was once a planet in our solar system and was destroyed when Venus came in. So maybe Venus took over from whatever that planet was that it knocked out, and she turned into a asteroid belt. But these are all myths and mythologies which are very interesting to look up and find out about. Maybe I have to look up what Gurdjieff says about Venus. But anyway, this little show is about the laws, and Gurdjieff's trying to get us to become aware, understanding of the laws, see them in our everyday lives, see them in the macrocosm as well as in the microcosm of ourselves. We need to look at the macrocosm and how the law of seven works in everything that we're dealing with and with the universe and such like. Then he goes on to say, likewise, an all-round awareness of everything concerning these sacred laws also conduces in general to this, that free brain beings, irrespective of the form of their exterior coating, by becoming capable in the present subsequent factors and not depending on them and arising round about them, both the personally favourable as well as the unfavourable, of pondering on the sense of existence. It's something I try and encourage with everybody. Ponder on your existence. Why are you here? Why is the planet Earth here? Why are all these other people here? Many people seem to be here with no mission whatsoever. Are they here to get in our way, or are they here because they're developing themselves, but they're starting off very low down in the ranking. I've been debating quite a bit with a guy on emails about the idea of the soul, and do we all have one, or do we all just have a germ of the soul, as Gurdjieff says, and that we can develop it or not. From a child, is whether that soul is encouraged to grow as we're taught by our peers, whether to be, considerate, loving, understanding person, or whether we're pushed away by our peers so that we retreat into ourselves and don't believe in anything. Though sometimes that makes people come out of themselves when they're bullied. Whether people go off on a selfish path or a selfless path. Are you working for yourself only, or are you working for the divine? Are you working for other people? Try not to be a people pleaser only. You're supposed to be a God pleaser, doing things for the divine source. How we're developed from a young age helps us develop our soul. Though I think people can still work on their soul later in life, even if they haven't perhaps developed it at a younger time. Shocks make people turn in on themselves and look at what it is that they are, how they've come to be on this planet, and what their mission is. You yourselves, either you've been looking into this kind of work all your life, or something's happened to you that's made you start looking at this kind of work and this kind of way of being and developing yourself, wanting to know that there's more to life. You can see that there's something, I was going to say outside, I suppose outside of the mechanical way of living, the exoteric way. You suddenly started sensing there's also a bit of an esoteric, and you're trying to find that out so that you can take a deeper look at yourself, life, the universe, and so on, which should hopefully lead you to the idea of some divine source out there that you're trying to be working towards, and be involved in that divine source planning and workings of this universe. I still am stunned by people that have no belief in a God, but believe in spirituality. And someone else was saying as a comment, I'm sorry, I've forgotten your name, I think it might have been Karen, that some people see as looking at spirituality as finding the inner God inside themselves. Well, that's actually, I quite like that idea. Yeah, that's good. They're still looking for a divine spark of some kind. But I've been having quite a few debates with people about there's no God. But then why are they doing this work? I find it quite weird. What is their idea of what Gurdjieff means about his endlessness, and what Gurdjieff's, I think, telling us, well, I'm sure Gurdjieff is telling us there's a divine source out there, and the way by doing this work we're fitting in with that divine source's laws and harmony of the universe. But then when we're not believing in the divine source, can we still work in the laws? Can we still be good enough people to work on ourselves and fit in with this harmony of the universe and the running of it, the cosmic laws? It comes back to that old debate of, if someone doesn't believe in God, but they're a good person still, do they go to heaven? It's that kind of debate. And sometimes I feel like I'm going around in circles when I talk about that kind of thing with people. But anyway, going on. Right, so in general, to this, that free brain beings, irrespective of the form of that exterior coating. So I suppose he's saying there, it doesn't matter what they're thinking in their exterior way of living. It's what's going on in their inner esoteric side of themselves that's going to help them by becoming capable in the presence of all cosmic factors, not depending on them and arising round about them. So that's, how law of accident, I suppose, of how things happen to us, but it's how we act with it. Do we react, or do we act upon them impulses? Are we letting things bother us, that kind of thing? Or do we see the bigger picture of why shit happens? Right, so of pondering on the sense of existence, very important. Acquired data for the elucidation and a reconciliation in themselves of that, what is called individual collision which often arises in general in free brain beings from the contradiction between the concrete results flowing from the processes of all the cosmic laws and the results presupposed and even quite surely expected by their what is called sane logic. You know, the academics and the scientific way that we're told that this world and universe is run. They're not looking at the spiritual esoteric side of it all. They're just looking at it from a logical way. So they poo-poo a lot of esoteric work. So I think, and I'm learning more and more, that many science places are doing deeper esoteric type of work, which I'm finding fascinating. I was watching one of Graham Hancock's interviews that he gave over Christmas about how he knows of a university in London where they're working with people on in their REM sleep, where they're being able to visit other realms and things like that. I'm probably saying that completely, making it sound wacky, but it's a very important scientific experiment that's been, or research, not experiment, scientific research into that kind of thing. And I know of, in America, I have a book by a lady scientist who, in her retirement years, suddenly was able to enter other realms. So she started looking into these using a scientific framework of mind, but at the same time aware that there was a spiritual element to this, so she could put the two together. And I've always said we need to bring science and religion back together. You know, back in the ancient times, science and religion walked hand in hand. Bring back the priest kings. But anyway. So Gurdjieff's asking us to look upon ourselves with a more open mind, and thus correctly evaluating the essential significance of their own presence. Like I was saying at the beginning, why are you here? What is the significance of you being on this planet? You know, most people, like the sheep in this world, are not looking for any significance because they believe there's nothing. They just live for themselves, maybe day to day, but they're not living in the now. At the same time, they're, you know, aiming towards their, you know, where do I get my next material object? How do I keep my family fed? Where do I find work? That kind of thing. Not really working on the higher side of ourselves, where, okay, we've still got them problems and we are also looking at them kind of problems of how do I make sure my family's being fed? How do I pay the bills? Blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, we're setting time aside to work on ourselves, whether it's, you know, a few minutes of prayer, a few minutes of silence, a few minutes of meditation, which hopefully would elongate into longer time periods that can work on ourselves, that then will start working on us in our everyday life. It will have like a reaction, a kind of, we're implementing it so that somehow we can at some point be able to live consciously, whereas we know most of the sheep don't live consciously. And being conscious is being aware of who you are and why you're here. You know, these are important questions, the who, whys, whats and hows of this world and of your existence. So they become capable of becoming aware of the genuine corresponding place for themselves in these common cosmic actualizations. So we're trying to become aware of the genuine corresponding place for themselves, for ourselves. What's our genuine place in this universe? What is it we truly believe in? What is the genuine reason for living? What is the genuine reason for our existence and everybody's existence and the universe's existence? When we're looking at it from an esoteric point of view, obviously we're looking at the genuine existence and reasoning is from a divine source. There is a spiritual, soulful element to it. When you're looking at it from an exoteric world, that's not always there. Or people despair at it and think like, oh, why me? Why does God hate me so much? Well, we need to work upon ourselves so we can become connected with the laws of the universe that the divine source is putting out and roll with it and flow with it. Where most people the sheep of this world again are not doing that. So they are living in a more of a chaotic part of the way everything's flowing, because they're not flowing with the cosmic actualizations and the cosmic laws that the divine source has put out there. And by working on ourselves, we learn about these laws. By reading Gurdjieff, we learn about these laws, the law of seven, the law of three, and then there's quite a few other laws, which I know Gurdjieff uses a lot of his own terminology for. I still struggle with his terminology. And I'm hoping that I can go deeper into that in the next few weeks, maybe, or get someone to come on, maybe Josh, and we can talk more about the terminology of how the whole system works, the microcosm onto the macrocosm, and how once the microcosm is in tune with the macrocosm, we begin to live a more harmonious life. So for 2023, let's hope we're all walking forward in a harmonious way, walking the harmonious walk and doing the harmonious thing and being part of the harmonious universe. Thank you for watching.